Good day. My name is Nicole Fields, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about the e-learning theory. This is a presentation for A.T. Still University in the Doctorate of Health Sciences, courses 8410. The presentation has several learning objectives and will include the following components: the history of the e-learning theory, key authors of the theory, key elements of the e-learning theory, strengths and limitations that arise when using e-learning, how the e-learning theory applies to today's classrooms and workplaces, and a few examples of the e-learning theory in action. The history of e-learning mirrors the rise in popularity of the World Wide Web in the late 1990s and early 2000s. When e-learning first begun, it was merely a replication of traditional classroom models. However, it wasn't long before instructors began to realize that they would need a specialized format to ensure that e-learners were successful. In 2002, McDonald, Brythrop, Stodel, Ferris, and Gabriel published Evaluation of Web-Based Educational Programs via the Demand-Driven Learning Model, a measure of web-based learning. This research introduced the demand-driven model. The demand-driven model is based on supply and demand and focuses on a demand for knowledge through an online forum with the rising popularity of the internet. The demand-driven model was designed in the workplace and focuses on an employee's desire to learn new knowledge and skills and their desire to improve their job performance. The key components of the demand-driven model are superior structure, content, delivery, and service. This chart explains the key components in more detail. Though superior structure is not listed, it is the most foundational of the four key components. Superior structure ensures that the web-based learning program meets the needs of the learner and meets specific high-quality standards. The content component ensures that learning is comprehensive, authentic, driven by the chosen industry, and thoroughly researched. The delivery component ensures that the web-based content is usable, interactive, and that there are tools that allow the learner to interact with the program. The final key component of the demand-driven model is service, which ensures that there are administrative and technical supports available for the learner, that web-based program is accessible and responsive, and that there are plenty of resources for the learner if they need help. All of these key components add up to beneficial outcomes, including a cost savings and better learning outcomes. Another foundation of the e-learning theory is Gagne's 9 events of instruction. Although his work was published way back in 1965, it is still applicable to e-learning today. The 9 events of instruction rely on internal and external cognitive factors in order to make a holistic learning experience. Internal factors include prior knowledge of the learner, or what did they know already when they entered the learning experience. External factors include the format of the instruction, in this case, web-based learning. The 9 events of instruction offer steps to make learning meaningful and engaging, which can be applied to e-learning today. The first step is to gain the attention of the learner. In a web-based environment, this could be something like a catchy headline or video, or an engaging assignment that captures the learner's attention. Next, the instructor needs to inform learners of the objective. What will they be learning today and in what format? The third step is to simulate recall of prior learning. What might the learner already know that applies to what they're trying to learn today? This recall of prior learning helps learners commit what they're learning to long-term memory, instead of forgetting what they learn as soon as they leave the classroom. Next, the instructor will present the content centered around goals. What is the goal of learning today? Centering assignments around one central goal can help online learners remember information better. For example, having one broad topic, like e-learning, with several small assignments, like the history of e-learning and examples of e-learning, as the goal, will help the learner more thoroughly understand a topic. Next, the instructors must provide learning guidance. Sometimes web-based learning can make the learner feel as if they are in a vacuum. They must know that they have support available when they need it in the form of an engaged instructor. Next, the learner must practice, practice, practice. Repetition can help solidify concepts. The 7th of Gagne's 9 events of instruction is to provide specific, constructive, and timely feedback to the learner. Along with feedback, make sure that performance is being evaluated and that the feedback provided to the learner. Finally, apply concepts that are being learned in the classroom to situations in the real world. This helps learners cement concepts in their mind and see how the concept applies to their daily lives. One final key component of the e-learning theory is connectivism. Interestingly enough, connectivism was born on a blog. When George Siemens introduced connectivism learning theory on his elearningspaces.org blog in 2004. The blog received much attention and was thusly adapted and published in 2005, giving us the connectivism learning theory that we know today. Connectivism is credited for stemming the massive open online courses movement, and the theory itself is heavily reliant on a community of learners. To explain connectivism further, 8 principles of the connectivism learning theory were created. The first principle is that diversity of opinion is key. The internet allows for many users to get together and contribute to the learning of a single topic. This can be seen on pages such as Wikipedia, where multiple authors contribute to one entry. Second, connectivism relies on connecting specialized nodes or information sources. Basically, this means that when data is put on the internet, it will be used in new and inventive ways by users that the original poster of the data may not have envisioned. It also allows for multiple data sources to combine and craft our learning around a single topic. The third principle of connectivism is that non-human appliances like computers are extremely important. They allow learners to do things that were not possible in the past. For example, right now I am dictating this presentation via a microphone on my computer. As I continue dictating, the computer gets smarter and learns more about my cadence and punctuation needs, enhancing the learning. The fourth principle of connectivism is that learners must know more than what is currently known. At the heart of this principle is critical thinking. Siemens realized that with nearly endless amounts of knowledge available to learners, it is crucial for the learners to be able to filter information for the purposes of understanding and building knowledge. Siemens also realized that it is necessary to nurture and maintain connections. The internet is vast, but for those who are using the internet for web-based learning, connections must be forged in order for success to occur. Connections can be between classmates or between classmates and the instructor, but connections help learners absorb and remember information and concepts. Besides connecting to one another, connections should also be made between fields, ideas, and concepts. It's not enough to simply learn one thing on its own. Much like Gagne's 9 events of instruction, Siemens realized that people learn best when they are able to build upon knowledge and concepts they already have and connect the dots between new and old learning. The 7th principle of connectivism is that the currency of online learning is accurate, up-to-date knowledge. When seeking out information online, it is critical that the learner knows how to filter information and make sure that they are getting accurate information which is not outdated. Finally, Siemens stated that decision-making itself is a learning process. Utrecht and Keller summed this principle up nicely with their example of sourcing information on YouTube. Learners must use how to source reputable videos by taking into account data, like how many watches the video has. Does it have a lot of likes? Is the video too long or too short? All of these factors come together in the learner's critical thinking skills to vet whether the video is relevant to their learning or not. Now that we have covered some of the key elements and founders that help shape the e-learning theory, let's talk about some of the strengths and limitations. First of all, e-learning can be done from virtually anywhere. With advances in technology, the internet is available across the United States, even in rural areas where traditional college educational opportunities may be more limited. There is also a lot of information available on the internet, from books to blogs to podcasts to scientific journals. The internet is a fountain of knowledge at our fingertips. E-learning can also save money by eliminating costs that come with learning in a physical environment, such as facilities costs, transportation, and supplies. E-learning is also an extremely valuable tool for busy professionals. People who work an 8-to-5 job or who have a family may shy away from a typical college experience. However, e-learning makes the classroom more accessible for people who need to learn during their own time schedule. Finally, e-learning is able to stay on the cutting edge of information. Information moves and changes quickly, and with e-learning there is no need to rely on outdated textbooks or assignments when teachers are able to facilitate discussions among students about events happening in their field right now. Like all learning theories, there are also limitations to e-learning. First and foremost, e-learners can often be left feeling disconnected from their classmates and instructors. It can be difficult without face-to-face interactions to feel like a valued part of the learning environment. Learners may also have difficulty in determining accurate and credible sources, since there is so much information to choose from on the internet. Sources that look credible are oftentimes not, so sourcing information carefully is key. Finally, e-learners can experience various levels of engagement. While one student may feel very engaged in their learning environment, others may feel like they are doing the bare minimum without being noticed. The following slide will address the community of inquiry model to aid in engagement. The community of inquiry model by Garrison, Anderson, and Archer also lends some suggestions as to how to establish a learning community through an online forum. By establishing a social presence, a learner is able to be socially and emotionally present in their learning environment, even though it is online, making it feel more like a traditional classroom environment. The cognitive presence allows the learner to have meaningful interactions with their classmates, and the teaching presence provides structure and process as the student learns. Online learning continues to grow in popularity. In a study by Babson/College Board, it was found that 77% of academic leaders think online education is equal to or greater than traditional classroom learning. Teachers weren't the only one to sing the praises of e-learning, however. 85% of students surveyed also felt that online education is equal to or greater than traditional classroom learning. Combine that data with the sheer number of students enrolled in at least one online college-level course, which was 6.3 million in 2016, and e-learning theory is one of the most applicable theories in use today. As students enrolled in an online program, we use the e-learning theory daily. Thus, my examples will all be from the AT Still classroom experience. First, the course discussion board. The discussion board allows students to interact with each other, more closely simulating a traditional classroom experience. The discussion board also incorporates principles from Gagne's 9 events of instruction. The discussion board allows for classmates to provide each other with timely feedback on their assignments, along with allowing the instructor to provide prompts and additional ideas to the discussion. The discussion also often incorporates real-world examples, which help students maintain information. When students are asked about how a theory applies to their work or life, it allows them to connect the theory to the real world and better commit it to long-term memory. The discussion board also allows for students to learn the diverse opinions of their classmates, thus enriching their experience. The coffee shop is another way for students and teachers to connect in a meaningful way. The coffee shop demonstrates one of Siemens' 8 principles of the connectivism learning theory. that it is necessary to nurture and maintain connections. Allowing students and instructors to converse in a laid-back environment helps to ensure that the learner is socially and emotionally present in the learning environment. Finally, formal assignments are used to test learning, reflection, and recall. The assignments are clearly laid out with instructions and objectives stated in the beginning, giving the learner clear expectations. In this particular assignment, reflection is needed, allowing the learner to recall their prior learning and apply it to this assignment. Formal assignments also allow learners to practice what they are learning in the classroom, thus cementing the learning. These are all parts of Gagne's 9 events of instruction applied to this example of an assignment. I would like to thank you for your time and welcome any questions or comments via my AT Still email. References are available on the following slide or by accessing the transcript of this recording.